Grab your friends, jump in, let's ride. Feeling guys love everywhere as we chase these blue skies. Grab your friends, jump in, let's ride. Feel alive to see the world fly by.
Hello, my name is Robbie. On here, I am Templar Knight. Every person who believes in God but does not attend a church has a story why. But whenever two or more people are gathered in God's name, He is there. So this is church. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We're going back to one of my favorite things. We are comparing faith to cars. Or, for this series, our walk of faith. How we go about our daily lives, and who's a part of our lives as we're taking this road trip. We all know the destination we're trying to reach, but what's it like on our journey along the way? So this series, we're talking about who's going along with us on this ride. Last week, we broke down 4 different ways to categorize every characteristic that someone has. The things that we're excited about, the things that we like, things that we're willing to tolerate, and deal breakers. And we spent a decent amount of time thinking about ourselves and some of our characteristics and how people would rate us. It's important to remember that we cannot change how people categorize our characteristics. But we can change our characteristics. We just can't change their minds. And I was trying to come up with some good story, that relates from my life in this. And I remembered a time when I was a kid, and way back in 1996, I was a middle school boy. And this new video game came out, targeted at middle school boys, and some of you may have heard of it. It's called Pokemon. Now, back when I was in middle school, it wasn't all that big. It wasn't as well known as it is today, but I loved it. I thought it was great. We've talked about this several times. I wasn't exactly a good at being social person, so the thought of a video game where I get to play a character who befriends these monsters and just the interaction with them was something new I'd never seen. So I really liked Pokemon. But unfortunately, it didn't help me in the social department, because although today it's totally accepted and everybody loves it, not so much back then. I remember one day I was frustrated after school because some kids had been picking on me. And I got some of the best advice I could ever receive on how I handle myself. And I was told that I have 2 choices. I can either change myself, change the things about me that people are picking on, or I can just own it and accept it. People can't make fun of me for something I'm proud of. So my options were to quit playing Pokemon or just own it. Well, I quit for a while because I was weak and I didn't like being picked on, but eventually I came back. And now, I can just own it. There are parts of my life that people are going to make fun of me for. But I don't have to change who I am. I just accept that with that part of my life, there's going to be some drawbacks. I can't convince people that they have to accept me because I like this. I can't force them to like me because of it. But I can accept that they don't have to like me. Or the other option is just to walk away and say, oh, this gets me picked on. I should stop doing it. See, I had a characteristic about me that was what I would consider a deal breaker for many people. So I tried to hide it. I wanted people to like me, but I wanted to like this game. I can't control them. I can only control me. I still enjoy Pokemon. And if anyone has an issue with it, that's their issue to have. They can't change me. But this week, I wanted to focus on the two good categories that we covered. The things that excite us in our friends, and the things that we want in our friends and the people who are around us. So if we were to go back to this comparison of our everyday life being a car ride, every day, the things we do, the places we go, who do we want to have on that ride with us? Now, I don't mean like they don't have to physically be there with you to go along with your day-to-day, because most of the times they're not. But in our lives, the people who are with us, those are the people who they're in our mind, that we're thinking about them. They're taking up space, they're tying up our thoughts. Those are the people who are riding with us. I mean, some examples. My wife. I constantly think about my wife and wondering if she would be proud of me with what I'm doing on my day-to-day life, whether she's there or not. Think about you guys. I remember conversations we've had or projects we're working on, games we're playing, things that we're praying about. It helps me pass the time. So even when I'm not at this computer interacting with you guys, you're still with me in this ride. I remember lessons that I was taught from old mentors that helped shape me. My parents, coworkers, friends, people who taught me something important that I learned from. Those people are with me. And just because they're not physically around anymore, maybe they've moved on from this life. They left an impact on me, and I'm holding on to it. That means they're riding with me. The time that they spent with me left a permanent mark on my car. They changed the way I ride. So they're with me. See, it is important for us to take some time and think about who we're allowing to hop in our cars and ride with us. Who do we allow to come into our lives and have an impact on us? I like to think of meeting new people like it's a job interview. Whenever someone new pops in, I'm like, "Hi, my name's Robbie. It's nice to meet you. These are a few of my main characteristics so that you can categorize me. What are some of your characteristics so that I can categorize you?" I never talk that formally because that'd be a really awkward way to introduce yourself. But if I meet someone new, I'll explain a little bit about me and see if they'll explain a little bit about them. And then we can decide if we want to interact more or if we should politely go our separate ways. That's how I meet people. I'm already analyzing, is this the type of person that I want to have in my car with me, that I want to have riding along with me in my life? So we need to think about what is it that we are looking from, or what is it that we're looking for from these people in our lives? What are the positive traits that we are hoping to find? What do we hope they have in their lives once we get to know them better? So whenever we meet people, we often try to show them our best characteristics in hopes that they will find something they're excited about. Because, I don't know for y'all, but for me, deep down, I want to be liked. I want people to like me. I want them to say, that Robbie guy, I want to ride with him for a little bit. I want to get to know him better. And then as we get to know each other, we find out more, and sometimes we'll find out that they've got some things I don't like, but I'm willing to tolerate it because we already have so many things in common that I do like, so many things that excite me about them. And sometimes we'll find a deal breaker, and honestly, sometimes deal breakers, they become tolerable if there are enough things that we like and we're willing to look past. But had I known that right off the bat, I've been like, nah, you're out. Sorry. And that's why we always try and focus on the good first when we're getting to know new people. I can't think of a single person I've ever met who just flat out came out and said, "Hey, this is me. I'm a horrible person. You wouldn't want to know me." Deep down, we all want to be liked. I tried this last week and I thought it went well, so I'm going to switch back to the chat screen. And I want you guys to tell me some of the things that would excite you in meeting someone. Some of the things that you would like in meeting someone. Now, obviously, I'm going to ask you guys to be polite because I try and upload this to the YouTube channel for posterity's sake, but also remember that some of the things that you like in a friend might not be stuff someone else likes, so let's be respectful. We don't all have to agree, but what are some of the things you guys are hoping to find in your life, or in friends, or in your life? And I know for me, one of my biggest attractions that will draw someone in is if they say they're curious about their faith. If they want to talk, even if it's not the same faith, if they just want to talk religion or theology, even if it's not mine, I'm invested. When someone is passionate about what they believe, I want to have a polite conversation. Honesty and a straight shooter, okay? Doesn't have the same thing. Plum cares about a sense, right? It's important to have someone who can laugh. I'll admit, if someone pops in and they want to talk about Christian hip hop, oh, we just became best friends for a while. Grandma likes to find friends in kindness, loyalty, respectful, and a sense of humor. That's why we love you here, Grandma. What other things? I like cars. If someone likes to talk about cars, that interests me. I also love when someone shares an interest that I love or something you're passionate, right? It is so nice when you find someone just like, heck, Goody Two Shoes. I popped into her stream. We both have the same favorite Disney character. And that is something that we can connect on, and I love that. Whenever I go to her stream, we can joke about Lilo and Stitch, because Stitch is the best. Blue Punch Bottle. Sorry, that's for Thursdays. We're trying to keep it serious here on a Sunday. It's like we all have these things that we're looking for in the people we meet. If they meet the same, hey, there's Stitch. This is why I can't have chat up. I will stop mid-sentence to respond to something. Yeah, we're all looking for common interests. Someone that we can talk to, someone who shares what we're interested in. And it's like I sit there and I think about what I'm willing to overlook, finding out than we knew. I often find that I will take a lot of my deal breakers and tolerate them if it's someone who's wanting to find God and they just don't know how. That has always been the one thing that I can look past so much, because I always feel like whatever the deal breaker is, if they're willing to find God, more than likely once they do, their deal breakers are going to fade. Someone demonstrates that thick skin can be open and honest conversations, right? And that is so nice when you can talk with someone, even if you don't agree, but you can just engage in a polite conversation and not get rude about it. Someone who laughs at the stupid stuff that I do. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate the censorship. So I know this kind of came up. Someone was wondering, why are we doing this series? Like, why does this even matter? This is week 3, and technically we haven't even talked about the Bible yet. Is this really even a Bible study? Well, yeah, I haven't talked about the Bible yet, but we're getting there. All right, I'm going to jump back over to the other screen real quick just so we can get this finished up. Thank you guys for sharing. But it was brought up to me, it's like every Sunday we do this Bible study. And this series has been more of a TED Talk, a self-help group. We haven't talked about the Bible yet. And I do plan on it. We just haven't got there. Because, I know we haven't talked much about the faith and religion in this. We're going to get to how this all applies. We're getting there. But I needed to start this with some important life lessons. And why is it important? Why do I feel the need to talk about these 4 categories of people's characteristics and what they matter in our lives? I learned a very important lesson growing up. And I was always told that you need to know the answers to the hard questions before the questions come up. Like in school, you're taking a test. You study beforehand so you know the answers to the questions before you get to that test, because you need to know. If you're going to buy a car, you don't just show up at the dealership. You figure out what kind of car you want, what kind of car you need, what your finances are. You don't just jump into it. And when choosing your friends, that matters too. You need to know what you're looking for in a friend, what things you want, what things you're excited about, what things you're willing to tolerate, what things will break that deal. See, for me, I had 3 main rules when I was growing up. But I knew these rules, honestly, before I even knew what they meant. You won't drink, no smoking, and no sex till marriage. And I knew those things. And it's honestly a good thing I did. Because the first time smoking ever came up, I wasn't ready for it. It's not like I was walking down the street and there was some stranger in an alley with a trench coat saying, "Hey kids, come here, you want to have a cigarette?" That's what I thought it would be like, but it wasn't. It was a good friend of mine. He decided to smoke and asked me if I wanted to. Peer pressure is difficult, but I already knew the answer. Nah, man, I don't smoke. I'm not going to smoke. Same thing with alcohol. The first time I was offered a drink, I was hanging out with my friends. The people that are supposed to care and look out for me, and they're the ones who offered me my first drink. Like, nah, man, it'll be fine. You'll be here long enough. You won't have to drive anywhere. It'll be fine. But I already knew the answer. Because my decisions had been made up long ago. So it's like, nah, I'm good. That's not for me. First girl I was ever around where... Well, anyway, I already knew the answer. I knew who I was, and I stood up for myself. So I didn't make any decisions that I would later regret. I was just some girl I was dating, and I showed respect for her and her future husband. I showed respect for myself and my future wife. But I already knew the answers before it was a question. That's why this matters so much, because the same goes for the people you let in your life. It is important to know who you want in your life. It's important to know who you want to keep out and where those lines are. See, everybody wants to be accepted for who they are and what they're into, but in one way or another, the people you are around are going to impact you without you even realizing it. The more time you spend with someone, the more of an impact you're going to have on them, and the more of an impact they're going to have on you. I had to laugh because one of my little simple, silly things that I do showed up at work the other day. My coworker was talking to me about a service call he went on. I said, yeah, I was at the customer's house, but they were just being a nugget, and I had to explain to him you gotta change your filter more often. And I was so amused that he called them a nugget, because that was something we started here like 2 years ago, just as a joke that stuck. And I've slowly impacted him to where instead of saying something rude and derogatory, he just called him a nugget. I've influenced him in other ways too, but that one caught my attention. So it's important to surround yourself with the people that are going to have a positive impact on you and people who you're going to have a positive impact on. Going back to my childhood, when I was younger, I didn't have much for friends. And I can say with some confidence that there are always people around that are willing to reach out to the isolated and the loners and the people who are struggling. But I thought that that was a sign of weakness. So I never sent out those signals. I never waved the flag and said, hey, I'm hurting, I'm alone, can someone help? I was thick-headed like that. So I just put on a strong face and made it seem like everything was okay. Because everyone thought everything was okay. No one ever reached out to me. Everyone thought I was fine. And I was so alone. And so, after you're alone for too long, the thought of having people in my life made the things that would have excited me irrelevant. The things that I would have liked to have in my friends didn't matter. And all the deal breakers became tolerable, to where I was willing to tolerate just about anything to have someone around. I should have known better. I knew what I wanted in my friends. I knew what I would have been excited to have. I also shouldn't have been so hard-headed. I should have been more open to let people see me, not the person I wanted them to see. Not the person I thought they wanted me to be. For several years, I filled my life with bad influences and bad people. And although my moral compass was strong, they still had an influence on me. And that's why this matters. I can't think of a good way or something smart or an inspirational way to end this lesson. I keep looking over my notes, but they don't have it. I just keep wanting to transition into next week, where we're going to talk about the two negative categories, the things that we tolerate and the deal breakers. But this week was about the good things, knowing what you want. Okay, I'm going to hit the notes real quick. I'm going to find something. There's got to be a good way to end this. Sorry. All right, a key point. Know what you are looking for in the people who are in your life. If you are going to allow someone to jump in your vehicle and ride with you, make sure they're the type of person you want to ride. If you're going to hop in with someone else and go with them, make sure they're the type of person you want to be with, because you never know how long you're going to be stuck with that person. Second key point. The people you are around are going to slowly influence you, and you are going to influence them. So choose wisely. What things are they teaching you, and what things are you teaching them? Because just like last week, who we are matters too. Let's make sure that we're making the people in our lives better. Let's make sure we're building up the people around us instead of breaking them down. And a good third and final point. Always remember the lessons taught to you by the people who care about you. Honor their memories, and they will always be riding with you.
Grab your friends, jump in, let's ride. Feeling dazzled everywhere as we chase these blue skies. Grab your friends, jump in, let's ride. Feel alive to see the world fly by.